Never write with pencil, mija. It is for those who would erase. We were hungry to see our experience because none of the books had us in them. So my desire was to do something that would bring those stories, those beautiful stories that I heard all around me in the neighborhood. Write with ink or mud or berries grown in gardens never owned. I went to West Side schools. At that time, they were not very affirming of our culture or our language. They were suppressing of it. The images that we got of ourselves from the schools were also very negative. Their awareness of what our culture taught was way off from reality. I mean, there were no libraries on the west side of town. There were no libraries in most of the schools. So you might think, based on that, that we were very literarily poor. And no, we were wealthy with literature, but it was an oral literature. Everything from corridos to bedtime stories that were polished and were passed on for generations. Furthermore, we were punished for speaking Spanish or even pronouncing our own names correctly. So it didn't kill our Spanish, but it made us feel hungry for our language and our culture. Fortunately, Mexican-American culture, Hispanic culture, has a great reverence for education. So when the Chicano movement came along and the Chicano literary movement in the late 60s and the early 70s, I thought that was the best thing in the whole wide world. Writing was kind of in my blood and in my barrio. I just thought this was so exciting to be able to take these stories and put them in a way that could reach more people. Little did I know that years later, that would mean that things that I wrote would reach people on the other side of the planet that I had never met, but that they would appreciate and be touched by something and identify with something that I wrote about here. Because as human beings, we're very close. We're all connected. We're really all familia. And literature that travels the world allows us to see that. I had all of these stories in me. The minute I heard about bilingual education, I decided that's what I wanted to be. I got a bachelor's degree. I got a master's degree. Texas Lutheran College wanted me to direct their Mexican American Studies Center. So I ended up teaching college when I was 22. I signed the contract when I was 21. I went on and got my doctorate. Guess what? I specialized in bilingual education. That was what was weighing on me as one of the greatest injustices that I saw, to take a people's voice away. And, of course, what comes next? Bilingual literature. Where's the literature that reflects Mexican-American culture? That began to pull me. Make your mark proud and open. I went into poetry first. Brave, beauty folded into its imperfection like a piece of turquoise marked. And short stories, then children's lit. I've been able to put a lot of books out there. I've done poetry of place. I've done poetry for children. I've done poetry for adults. I've done short stories. And then I get bored and I want to do something different. I feel that I never stop crossing borders when it comes to writing. I write in every form that I can create or invent or fuse between two other forms. San Antonio expresses that to me. It's a very universal city. It's very attractive to people from across the world coming here wanting to join in this gentleness that this river has always represented for us. We celebrate in this city. We know how to canta y no llores. We turn everything into a festive excuse to celebrate and affirm human beings. That's what San Antonio is, and that's what I hope to produce in my writing. My latest book, Arte del Pueblo, is a narrative, a poetic narrative trying to capture the heart and soul of the art of the city of San Antonio. Our voice is our power. It's how we speak up about what we want, who we want to vote for, what laws we want to live by, what we think is fair and not fair, and what resources and opportunities we deserve. I tell people, make sure that your voice is heard. It might be through writing, it might be through painting, it might be through the style in which you teach in a classroom. Different cultures have something to add. To young people, I would say never use the word just when you talk to yourself, because you're never just anything. You're a bunch of things, some of which are blooming, some of which are starting to bloom, some of which haven't even begun to bloom yet. You're full of possibility. Remember that. You know your dreams, and those dreams are valuable. They're worth something. They mean you can envision something in life. And if you can envision it, you can do it.